Number two, consequences matter. So there is a type of consequentialism which becomes the dominant ethical theory in the modern world in the 19th and 20th centuries through people like first Jeremy Bentham, then John Stuart Mill, right? Moral action is that which brings the greatest benefit for the greatest number, the greatest happiness for the greatest number.
So utilitarianism, as it's called.
Right. So we have kind of in a sense, I wouldn't like to say it this way, but there's sort of a divine utilitarianism in the sense that God is wise, just, and merciful, and he legislates for us what is best for us, both in this world and the next, from his omniscient perspective. Allahu ya'lamu wa antum la ta'lamun. God knows and you don't know. So consequences matter, but it's not just the consequences that we, in our limited perspective, fixate upon. It's in a larger, and we'll see in another slide or two that there are maqasid of the Sharia. There are goals that the Sharia is trying to uphold for the benefit in this world and the next of human beings, right? So that's a type of consequentialism, but it's the one that is a divine consequentialism that God has set and that he has legislated also the means of achieving it. And then the third thing, and this is the third mainstream also in Western, historically, is virtue ethics, which goes all the way back to Aristotle, right? In which Muslims also took on Aristotle's writings on ethics very enthusiastically and modified it and improved it and sort of infused it with, the telos of revelation and the spirit of, and improved upon it. But they found what he said about ethics quite compatible. And the idea is that virtue and moral character are also of paramount importance, right? The notion of khuluq or akhlaq, the Prophet God's, we read in the Quran, Allah says, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ, speaking to the Prophet, you you have a noble or a magnificent moral character, right? And even the word virtue is like, McIntyre has like after virtue. That's why he called it that, because there's no virtue left. We don't talk about it. The word is so old fashioned. And virtue is like gets a chuckle, like virtue, like what is that, right? But the Prophet said, peace be upon him, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ, I was sent but to perfect the noble traits of character. So your character matters. There are things like, for example, hasad, which is envy. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said that envy eats up good deeds like fire eats wood. And envy means that you are so jealous of what someone has that you don't have, to the extent that you want that person to lose that benefit if you cannot enjoy it yourself. So it's one thing to say, oh, look at the benefit that person has. I wish I had that. But it's another thing to say, I actually, willfully desire that he should lose that benefit because I can't stand to see someone, enjoy it if I can't enjoy it. This is very ugly. And this is not even acting on. It's not like I'm going and sabotaging, like, keying his brand new Mercedes. Like, I'm not doing it. But just in my heart, I have that hasad. In that state of the heart, the Prophet said that state eats up your good deeds. So your noble, your character matters, right? And your virtue matters. And then the Prophet also said, very important for us as Muslims, peace be upon him, every religion has a characteristic moral trait. لِكُلِّ دِينٍ خُلُقٍ وَخُلُقُ الْإِسْلَامِ الْحَيَاء. And the characteristic trait of Islam is modesty, haya, right? And then finally, to round this off, he said, if you have no shame or modesty, then do as you please. إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَحِي فَاصْنَعْ مَا شِئْتَ.